Welcome back, everybody, to the Aaron's High Cap Adventure Radio program. Today is the 10th of December, 2018, and I'm here with attorney extraordinaire Benton Ross Watson. And Ross, it's always a pleasure to see you, man. I like the hat. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Yeah, just trying to get festive.
Is this a tactical hat, like a prepper hat, because you got this rope up here in case something happens?
That's right, man.
Yeah! Okay. Ross, I got you in here on a weird topic. I read an article somewhere where somebody did something. I forget what it was. It was self-defense. If you lowered it because it's static, go ahead and lower it again because that's going to be irritating to me. That was a side note to the board operator. Okay, I was reading an article, and basically the bottom line was this. The individual got arrested, and then because of the arrest, law enforcement or whoever does that kind of stuff went to the person's house and confiscated a whole bunch of stuff from the house. And my thought was, if this individual does a crime or a suspected crime, he's not proven. It's not proven unless he's found guilty, okay? If it's consisting of what he had on his person, why do they feel they have to go to the person's home and take the other guns from the house that had nothing to do with the situation that this individual was on the street, we'll say? Is that clear? And if it wasn't clear, make it clear for me.
I didn't see that specific article, so I can't speak to exactly why they did what they did in that case.
Well, let me make something else. I see that a lot in articles.
Okay, well, I don't see it where they go and take everything, okay, but it is common for there to be a family violence type of situation or some other kind of maybe some allegations of mental instability. Maybe somebody else has filed a protective order or something to that effect, and so police that would then have some kind of cause to at least go and take all the guns. Okay, sometimes I disagree with how that happens, but bottom line is it's really hard to argue when you have a situation like that. But in the most, just a basic case, in a use of a gun case, I don't know how you could take the person's weapons from their house, their other weapons, because it's going to be based on the probable cause requirement. Okay, and then there's going to have to be some reason to believe that either those weapons were used in a crime or that they're evidence, okay, in a pending case. There's going to have to be something, right, for the government to justify seizure of those items, okay? And so, like I said, who knows? But this plays into what we've talked about before, like, be careful about what you post on Facebook, okay? Because there has been cases where police wouldn't be able to go into your home. And this applies to all crimes across the board, not just weapons crimes, but where the incident happened away from your home, okay, shopping mall, on the street, some other kind of event, somebody else's house, okay, and then there's stuff posted on Facebook, okay, there's stuff posted on social media, or somebody has said something else, right? Out in the world, instead of not confined to the incident itself, not confined to the event that gave rise to the initial arrest. Okay, either the social media, somebody made some stupid statement at a later time, right? Or somebody went back to the house and got into maybe an altercation because of the event that happened previously. In some of those scenarios, that would give police, right, probable cause maybe to go back into your house. If you said that, you maybe used a weapon or you used something, or that there's been events take place at your house, anything basically where you mention your house, right, involved, okay, or you give points about your personal life, okay, that are related to this event, give the police, again, possibly more probable cause to come back and search for more evidence. Okay, and so in those scenarios, right, I've seen it where somebody mentioned something on Facebook and the police got a search warrant to not only come, because remember, it's not just your house. They may want to look at your cell phone. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I guess it makes sense, I guess.
Oh, they obviously want... Police would love it if they could look at your cell phone. That's the thing now they're trying to get. Right? That's going to be more important probably than your house, aspect.
I look at my cell phone as my brain. My brain
Exactly.
in a handheld device. That's my essence, my personality. Because I look at the things that intrigue me. I look at the things that teach me. I look at the things, or I send communications or whatever. And it's like, if I wanted to tell the world, I'd tell the world. But I don't want to. It's my brain. So.
And so, yeah, we spoke about this, right? It was a new case that came out. And so typically, like if I were arrested, there was this thing what we call a SITLA, okay, which is a search incident to a lawful arrest, okay, it's an acronym, okay, so it's a SITLA, okay, and that's going to be an exception to the Fourth Amendment requirement, okay, and that's going to mean that if I arrest you, I've already invaded your liberty to such a degree, okay, that anything that's on your person, okay, it's not being invaded when I search your person and seize that from you, because you're going to jail anyway. Okay, there's more to that concept, but that's the essential. That's the essence of it. You've already arrested. You're already under arrest lawfully, right? So there's really no harm in me searching you and seizing the items that I need. Okay, there's also officer safety. There's also administration stuff that is necessary for that aspect. But anything that was on your person, okay, typically I could have searched it. Okay, and so any package that was on your person or something to that effect could be searched. Now, that's what the police tried to do. They were trying to take the cell phone because, it's in his pocket. He's under arrest. It's in his pocket. I'm going to take it and I'm going to open the cell phone. Now I get to search the cell phone. It's a package. No.
What if it's locked? What if it's got a lock on it?
Yeah, exactly. That's even better, right? That's even better. It's got a lock on it, which is why I have a lock on it. And actually, my cell phone comes back with a warrant. So I took a screenshot and I put that screenshot. So when my phone goes to sleep, what you see is come back with a warrant. So, okay, and so. Yes, that's what they're, in my opinion, they're going to be going more after your cell phone because that's going to tell them every aspect.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to tell them your location information, even though they can get that from a third-party service provider. But if they have your cell phone, they don't have to make that subpoena. They don't have to make that request. They don't have to wait on that request. They don't have to go through it all. That's right there. Okay? And so that you're going to get your messages. They're going to get your thoughts. They're going to get your location information. They're going to get your contacts, right? In a drug deal situation, woo, this is ideal, right? This is, they're getting your black book, your book of business. Okay? And so, I mean, the same applies in any kind of case though, right? If it's a assault case, God, if you've messaged them, man, they're going to have all those, right? And obviously the other person can give them the messages too, but sometimes that person doesn't want them looking at their phone either, and so it's still a hard case for them to make.
It's a black hole, man. It's a black hole. Once you open it, just sucks you in there, You go from one thing to another.
Right, and so they can still get the warrant for your cell phone, but it's a lot harder case to make. And then you've got to limit the cell phone to the relevant information. How do they know what is the relevant information on the cell phone? It's not an easy request for a warrant. I mean, what's easy? I would say that it's not too difficult, but I think if the right challenge was made, it would be difficult then to limit the scope.
Doesn't that come into self-incrimination? Isn't that Fifth Amendment right? Because if the phone, or if they come into your home after an incident and they may find something, let's say you do some recreational marijuana or something, and they come in because you defended yourself on the street, now they come in, can they charge you with that, and it multiplies and multiplies? It's almost like...
Remember, there has to be a statement made in custody under interrogation for there to be a Fifth Amendment invocation. So before the Fifth Amendment comes into play, you have to be in custody, right, under interrogation. And we talked about that.
Is there a difference between being arrested and being in custody? Is there a terminology difference?
I would say arrested would encompass that term. Okay, but detained does not mean that you're in custody.
That's what I'm trying to get. Detained, custody, and what was the other one we just said? Detained, custody,
and arrest.
And arrest. Yeah.
I would say that arrest would be the same thing as custody, but detention. So, like when you're on the side of the road and you're doing your field sobriety test this holiday seasons. I was just okay. You are not being interrogated while you are in custody. That is merely a detention, right, for the police officer to determine whether or not you are intoxicated.
And they're going to stall you as much as they can, so you just step on it, fumble it, or whatever, so they can get you under arrest.
Right. And so don't think that everything I'm telling this cop is inadmissible because he didn't read me Miranda. No. On the side of the road, field sobriety testing, speech is not custodial interrogation. It does not involve the Fifth Amendment. So they're not going to read you your Miranda rights until after they've already put you in the back of the police car with cuffs. In a DWI scenario.
I sit here in silence because I'm just like, this wears me out, man. It really does. Because you could just get yourself in a situation accidentally, or you felt that there was no other way for me to get out of a situation, but you might have done something in that course that was technically wrong. And so now you're under the eyes of the law, you're being scrutinized as to what you did, and then one thing opens up the door to another thing, and I'm just sitting here like, man, it's a dangerous world out there.
Well,
I'd rather be in battle and combat than do this crap.
I would agree, though, that there are some of those precautions you can take in a lot of these scenarios, and that's why we've talked about the gun trusts. Okay, that's why we spoke about the estate planning aspect. That's why we spoke about making sure that the transfer of the weapon is done properly. If you're, again, it's holiday season's coming up, make sure if you're going to transfer your weapon, okay, to your nephew and he's underage, right, make sure you get your parents, your sibling, or, the step parent to sign off, right, on that transfer.
Now, that's for people who are under the age. But when you're buying a gun, ladies and gentlemen, for somebody, it's a legitimate gift. You don't need to do that. Is that a call for us? Let's see what we got here. You don't have to do that. There's a special way to do that. But you're talking about when you're giving it to a child under the age of 17, right?
Yes.
Are we online? This is the Aaron's High Cap Adventure Radio program. You're on the air. Who am I talking to?
I wanted to know what the temperature was out there for you unit.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What? What's the temperature? It's it's pretty nice out there, I think. Yeah. It's pretty nice degrees. I don't know what the actual number is, but it's pretty nice. It's 50 degrees out. 50 degrees. Thank you. Glad I could be of service. All right, go ahead, Ross. I'm a little frustrated here.
No, we're good. We're good. So that's what you could take those precautions. You just make sure that somebody signs off, or you put it in a trust, and that would be the reason to have especially the ATF regulated weapons in a trust, so that if something happened, right, you would have a record of how it got transferred to who. And so if you had other weapons there, they wouldn't be able to take those other weapons. You could, or they wouldn't be able to take your personal weapons if you had that weapon in a trust. It would be also not a bad idea, especially if you've already a felon, so to speak, or have a felon in the household, and a weapon is wanting to be used for hunting and stuff like that. I think maybe have a separate location, maybe on the property, that the weapons will be kept, so that nobody could say that those weapons are kept in the house. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. I told you there's problems with the fact that if you've got, let's say you've got a wife that has a felony conviction, okay, and it's within a 5-year period, that they're going to mean they're prohibited, right? They're not allowed to have any firearms. And so, but how can that trump your rights to have the firearms in the house? Look, I'm not going to make any comments about this. I feel like that's just a tough scenario, okay? But you guys need to, I think maybe a solution is to put them in a separate, right, location, maybe on your property, but not in your house, so that you can say they're not in the house in the possession of this other person, okay? And there can never be an issue. Another, I think, point that could be made on this topic, and Rick Dodd actually pointed out, Capilino, Dodd, and Krebs, was pointing out the spoliation, which I've used from the defense and civil side, and he's used going after a defendant's side. And so,
Clarify the word.
So spoliation means that you allow that evidence to spoil, so to speak, such that it could be used, right, against you in that negative light. In other words, so I had a criminal mischief case, okay, and the state was alleging that there was $10,000 in damages. And the car, it was against a car, and the car was a hoopty. Okay, the car itself wasn't even worth $1,500. Okay, and so I'm sitting here going, hold on a second. You're telling me that there's over $7,500 in damages to a car that, when totaled out, wouldn't even be $1,500, right? But they got the car fixed. Okay, before they even filed the complaint, the police were involved, right, in helping this person get their car fixed. Were involved in helping this person take it and getting the estimates and stuff. Okay, but yet then told this person to go ahead and get it fixed without any pictures or anything. And I'm thinking, you're telling me that this is a $9,000 damage to this car. You don't have any pictures of the car beforehand, right? You were involved, right, in helping the person get the car fixed, right? And now we have no evidence of essentially what you're saying was the $10,000 of damages. Mm-hmm. You've allowed this evidence to dissipate. We have nothing to judge, right, how you got to this $10,000 number. And I'm asking the court, okay, to give a spoliation instruction to tell the jury, folks, if that evidence was favorable to the state, they would have evidence of it. They would not have let that evidence dissipate. They would not have let that evidence disappear. If it was really evidence of $10,000, they would not have let it go. And the same applies, right, when you're looking from a civil standpoint. Okay, that's a really hard case to make, by the way, because it's hard to impute the actions of a complaining witness to the police department. Okay, but in that case, I was trying to make that case because they were involved essentially in trying to get the car fixed. They're both involved just as much. So I was trying to have those actions all considered the same person. But from a civil aspect, like let's say you have a car wreck and maybe the insurance company, you're trying to show that how the accident happened, you need a reconstruction, right? You need to show that the defendant hit this, your car in such a way that caused a death, or you need to show that there was such an angle, or you need to show how fast they were coming by showing the damage right on their car. Well, they go the next day and get the vehicle fixed.
How can you do that? Yeah.
There's no way to do the recon. There's no way to do the accident reconstruction. Okay, and so you're going to go then with a jury, you're going to have spoliation evidence. You're going to say they've allowed that evidence, right, to disappear. Right? And if that evidence was favorable to them, okay, then they would not have allowed it to disappear. And that applies, right? It's never a good idea, right? It's never a good idea because then the jury is going to be told they can presume, right, that evidence would have been bad for whoever the instruction is against. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So they're going to assume that the only reason you got that car fixed was because it showed you're liable.
Is there any way to do a 24-hour day without breaking the law?
So what? Say that again?
Could you live a day, 24 hours, doing what you normally do on a daily basis and not break a law?
So there's that book, 3 Felonies a Day, and there's a bunch of other books that's going to tell you probably commit 1 or 2 felonies a day.
And what keeps us from getting arrested just because they didn't see it at the moment?
I'd say it's stuff that you would never imagine, even going to the federal level. Like, there's all kinds of copyright and patent laws, that come into effect. Do people really commit 3 felonies a day? I don't know, but I can tell you this, that there's millions of laws on the books. We talked about it. And there's laws on the books that you absolutely would not, right, expect, right? I mean, just look at the tax code, for instance, and the tax code is nothing, okay, compared to some of the administrative regulations that there are out there, okay? And there's essentially criminal provisions in every regulatory code, right, that double, triple, even quadruple the amount of criminal laws that are out there. And so when you talk about from the state level and federal level, yes, there are tons of rules, right, that could lead to criminal penalties. And I think that's what I'm trying to say is it's really frustrating and it's overwhelming when you really start to think about it. Most people don't, and that's a good thing. Okay, and most of the time you're fine if you're living, I think, as a reasonable person, but that's not always true. And sometimes people unfairly get targeted, and it does happen, so to speak, when we don't even know what we're doing.
This
And
reminds
there's
me.
been a lot of books written on that recently, a lot of recent books written on it.
This reminds me when I was in the military. I was trying to go to Berlin when I was stationed in California. And there was a friend of mine there, and he was trying to go somewhere else. And they had the military book of all the rules, the regs, the MOSs, this, that, what you can do. You can't do this, you can't do that. He looked at it so finely to figure out a way to get him where he wanted to go, doing what he did by picking a little piece here, picking a little piece here, ones you would never know existed because there's so many of them. But you piecemeal it all together and you get to where you want to go. I get that same impression when it comes to the law. If somebody, a prosecuting attorney, wants to get you, there's those millions of laws you say that are on the book that you never found, and you piecemeal it all together, it's like you can't win if you got a guy who's truly aggressive enough to find all those little parts and pieces.
Yes, that's what I preach on here. There's always an argument to be made with the millions of laws that are out there on the books, and you just gotta be careful.
Do you think it's mostly the want of finances that a prosecuting attorney or whatever attorney wants to push the case, or is it true, I truly believe in this case? Or they're saying, I got to figure out a way to make this
Like we said, there's all kinds of prosecutors, man. There's all kinds of prosecutors, but you surely have the ones that have their own personal agenda. You surely have the ones, right, that have then a political agenda that's not really their own. It's just their constituents. Then you have, right, the competing time elements. I mean, like I said, I don't understand sometimes why prosecutors get upset and like aggressive, and they're just like, no, we're not doing that. I was okay, man. The more we go, the more I get paid. You get paid the same amount of money.
I know, but the poor client is footing the bill.
That's not my fault.
No, I didn't. Not you, but the guy, the prosecuting attorney, he gets paid a salary, doesn't he?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why. Just dismiss this case, or just give us this deal. Like, no, we're gonna go forward. And look, sometimes they got to. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes you want your prosecutors to make a statement on certain cases, and they need to. And so, but when in the context of, right, the time elements when we're talking about, it doesn't matter how much time they spend on the case. They're not getting paid any more money, right? And so you have to take that into consideration. There is a time element. It's not like they can just prosecute every single case that comes before their office, okay? But I mean, some try. Some definitely try it.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you watch this video later, probably Tuesday or so, you're going to see the distraught look on my face. It's because this just gets my stomach turning because of all the easy possibilities of people who try to be good can step in it one day by accident or self-defense or whatever, and they did something a little bit wrong, and it can just open up a Pandora's box of all the laws that can come against you. And one day you're living one way, and all of a sudden your economic lifestyle and your basic lifestyle changes overnight because you got to have all these expenses paid to defend yourself, keep yourself out of jail, the whole works. And it's not cheap going to court, is it?
I would say definitely not. Right? And the wheels of justice usually turn slow. Is another good rule of thumb. You need to realize that if you're getting into a situation, you're not just going to be able to have the thing over, overnight, right? It's going to take time and it's going to take its toll. Okay, it's where we get the saying that you may beat the rat, but you won't beat the ride, and the ride's usually going to be long because the wheels of justice turn slow.
I read that story a week or two ago about how that young lady accused, or I guess her ex-boyfriend or something, of assaulting her, and it came to be a lie because he was down there in Austin, but he had to go through a year and a half of court and trial and all this kind of stuff, and money and expenditures and lost sleep at night. So yeah, it's going to take its toll on you for sure, even if you are innocent. So what's the moral of the story here, Ross?
I think it's always good to have a preparation plan in place before. Make sure that you don't, if something were to happen, it's never a good idea to cleanse the scene, so to speak, after that happens, because civilly speaking, you're going to have all kinds of penalties, and criminally speaking, you're going to have a tampering with evidence scenario. But I think if you have certain plans in place beforehand, if you have thought out certain situations and you know how to deal with them, right? Not necessarily even a specific self-defense case. If you say, well, if there's ever an issue, I know that I'm taken care of, my family's taken care of, we have everything set up, we have a safety fund for any kind of emergencies, legal or social, okay, or medical, okay. We have, right, the weapons taken care of in the right place, so that if I die, I know that they're getting transferred properly, or if I get arrested, I know that they're being transferred properly. And it applies in both scenarios, okay. It's always good to just do a little bit of thinking ahead. I think maybe some of this will be some good New Year's resolution,
That'll last for a month.
principles well, it wouldn't last for a month if you went ahead and put it in place.
Would it take a month for them to come see you to get their trusts in place? Could you get it done in a month while they're motivated by
I could.
New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, I could, but
There you go. You need to tell them about your trust. One more real quick synopsis of why it's important for the
sometimes with the ATF weapons, you're gonna need a trust, okay, to make that go through. It's gonna be better to have it in the trust name than your own name. 2, in the estate planning process, right, having any kind of personal property like guns that sometimes have regulatory twists, right? It's good to have them go ahead and put them in your living trust or irrevocable living trust, so that they're already taken care of by a trustee who has instructions about what to do with those weapons. Plus, right, if you have the ID card, you already know who they're going to be transferred to and who has the authority over those weapons. So, and you make sure they're not transferred to somebody who's not supposed to have them.
Okay. Ross, we're winding down here. Why don't you tell everybody how they can get a hold of you? And
105 East Main Street here in Cameron. That's the office location. You can give me a call, schedule an appointment in Harris County if it's Houston area, or Bryan College Station, or here it's 254-605-4140. That's 254-605-4140. Again, we love emails. If you do email, we get questions all the time. Add topics to the show a lot of times. I've actually got 2 people I'm trying to get a hold of right now. Make sure you leave your cell phone number, but my email is benton@watson.legal, benton@watson.legal.
And we can't thank Copland & Dodd Krebs Law Firm enough for sponsoring the program, as well as our other sponsors like Two Wheel Customs, Twin Pistol Bail Bonds, EBCO, Comfort AC and Heating, Cameron Small Engine, Liquor Depot, A&C Firearms, and we just can't thank you guys enough, because without those sponsors, the show is not on the air. So it's a circle of life. Make sure you support the sponsors and support the show. Okay, guys, let's take a break, and when we come back, I'll be giving some more information out, and then we'll get set up for the delicious Janae Goodman. Ross, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Take care, bud.